Focus. So domain and range are basically, they're just boundaries. Okay? If you're thinking like, and I like to use this in terms of sports. So like in terms of football, you have what? 10 yards to move the ball, right? So you would say between what? The 10 and the 20. Or you are running a route, you need to stay between 40 and the 50, something, right? Domain and range are boundaries. But domain and range is this, there are notations, there are numbers that are written always from least to greatest, okay? So it says, describe in your own words the meaning of domain. Domain is going to be your X values, while range is your Y values. Okay, now a lot of students get those mixed up, which one goes with X, which one goes with Y. So I always recommend, whenever we talk about domain and range, we always talk about domain first, then the range, which is alphabetical order, D then R. Same thing goes with your X and Y. X goes with domain, Y goes with range. So always put them in alphabetical order. That should clear up any confusion, okay? Domain are your X values, range are your Y values. So domain, what it tells you is how far to the left, how far to the right, because that's where your X-axis is. Your X-axis goes left and right. So this is your domain. Range goes with the Y-axis. So it's asking how high does that graph go? How low does the graph go? Okay. Now, I inserted this, how do you set up all domain and range notation? You always have a number first, then a numbers on the ends. Always use less than equal to, okay? You put your smallest number, your minimum on the left, your maximum on the right.
That's this thing.
Yes. And you either have an X or a Y in the middle, depending on if you're talking about domain or if you're talking about range. Now, your inequalities always depend on open and closed circle, with parabolas. I don't think, you do have to worry about closed circles, but not open circles. I've never seen open circles with parabolas, with quadratic functions, okay? It says, find the domain and range of this graph, okay? Well, what I recommended whenever you did have straight lines was to label your endpoints. But the difference with the quadratic is the quadratic doesn't just have these two endpoints, right? It also has a peak. So what you're going to end up having to do is also label that peak, okay? So what is the vertex?
-2, -2.
-2, okay. I'm going to label my X and Y. Now, if I look at my ends, or the ends of this parabola, they have arrows. Arrows indicate what?
Minimum. Oh, no, keep on going.
That it keeps on going, which takes me back to the assignment where like 90% of you got this one wrong. Or actually, I'm being mean. About 70-30. 70% of people got this one wrong because you didn't see it crossing the X-axis. But what does a arrow represent?
Going up.
So it would have eventually what?
Gone.
It would have crossed. It would have crossed. Even though you can't see it on the paper, it will cross. Oops. Went back to the same page. You were supposed to say that it will have zeros. It doesn't have a zero, but it will have zeros. And so, actually, and it wasn't in this class, it was in 5th period. They wrote this. What's a zero in quadratics? Actually, a zero in anything. It's an X, not X-axis, X-intercept. Not because it has a literal number 0. A 0 in math, in algebra, represents an X-intercept. So this explanation, yeah, no.
Good thing I
Yeah.
did not write that. Because
Yeah.
it's stupid.
Anyway, so arrows indicate that it's going to continue forever and ever. So even though you can't see the whole parabola, you should know that it's still going, right? So this one is forever going to the left. And on the left, what kind of x's do we have? Negative numbers. So this would be negative infinity. Now it's also going up. So what kind of y values do we have? So positive infinity. Okay? Now this arrow over here is in the first quadrant, so both infinities are positive. Okay? Which I guess we can go ahead and write that. If your arrows are in either quadrant, positive infinity, positive infinity. In quadrant 4, the x values are positive, the y values go down, so those are negative. Quadrant 3, that's why we're writing this. Both negative. In quadrant 2, your x values are negative, your y values are positive. Okay?
Leave a pin. Oh, Sykes.
You got it? Here it is. Okay.
Are you recording this?
I am recording this.
Goody. So I just called somebody stupid. I'm so sorry.
That's if they watch the video. So,
Do you think they'd watch the video?
probably not.
Okay.
So, X and Y are both positive here. Your X's are positive here, but it's under the X axis, so your Y's are negative. Both numbers are negative here. Negative X's, but positive Y's here. Okay? Got it?
She heard me.
All right. So now, to write your domain, the first thing we do is we fill in the middle with what variable? X. Domain is X, so we fill it in with an X. Okay? Now, what is the smallest X value? So look at all 3 X values that you have. Which one's the smallest one?
-2. Wait.
Are you sure?
No. Infinite. Negative infinite.
Negative infinity. Any infinity is going to be a closed circle, so underline the inequality. Okay? Now, we go with the max. What is the largest X value?
Positive infinity.
Okay? So whenever you have infinity on both sides, that means that the answer is
What's it called? All real numbers.
all real numbers. Okay? But just because domain has all real numbers doesn't mean the range will be all real numbers. Okay? That happens with linear, but it doesn't happen with parabolas. The reason it doesn't happen with parabolas is because of that peak or that valley. Okay? So let's do the range. You put a y in the middle for range, because those are your y values. And look at all 3 y values that you marked down. What's the smallest y value? -2. So -2 goes on the left. And that would be a closed circle because you don't see a physical gap. Unless you see a physical gap in the parabola, it's still closed. And what's the highest y value?
Positive infinity.
Positive infinity. Okay? Now with this one, whenever you only have one infinity in the whole inequality or in the whole range, then you only keep the part with the number. But on the star test, variables always come in the front with your answer choices. So what we have to do is flip that around. And if you flip that around, you must also flip the symbol. Yeah. So
I have a question.
what's up?
On domain, is it only like the infinities?
For this one it is. It won't always be like that.
Then why don't we put -2 for the domain?
Because it's a comparison between the X and the Y values. Okay? So the smallest X here is negative infinity. The highest x is positive infinity. If you look at the y values, you only have positive infinity, so it's a repetition of the same number. So the smallest one is -2, but the largest is positive infinity.
I was thinking.
Okay.
I was thinking -2 was
Okay, number 1. It says circle any function a through d that has a domain of all real numbers. Okay? Well, so the only thing we're going to look for is the domain, which we're going to label our points anyway. Okay? What's the vertex here?
infinity. 0. Oh wait, no. 0. 2. -2.
Okay. Now the left arrow is what? Bless you.
Negative infinity.
Okay. The right arrow is? Okay. Now when we write the domain, we write the smallest to the largest, right? What's the smallest x? Only look at your x values.
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity. Okay. What's the highest?
Positive.
So because they're both infinity, what is a?
All real numbers.
All real numbers. Now you can write AR numbers, I don't care. But yeah. So A is all real numbers. B is an equation. If you put this equation into, there is no context to this equation, meaning there's no story behind this equation. So when it's just a regular equation, all real numbers. Okay. If no story equals all real numbers. Yeah. If there's no story behind the numbers, it's all real numbers. Look at C. There's a story here. We're talking about feet. We're talking about seconds. So you have to think about the context. Can you have a negative amount of feet?
No.
Can you have a negative amount of seconds?
No.
So there's a stopping point here, okay? So for this one, we got to label this point, our vertex, and this point over here, okay? What's the y-intercept?
5.
0, 5. What's the vertex?
8, 10.
It's really hard to see, but it's 0.8, 10.
Oh.
And then what's the x-intercept?
16. Or 0, 16, 0.
Yeah, there's decimals in there. Sorry, it's really hard to see though. Okay. Okay. All right. So for this one, put an x in the middle. Only look at your x values. What is the smallest x value? 0. Close circle. What's the highest x value?
1.6.
Yeah. So that
This is not all real numbers.
is not all real numbers, but that is your domain for this one.
I'm a bit confused on B.
On B? Why?
Why is it Y? It's Y equals. So that would be range. Right?
No. That's just the equation. That doesn't mean the y values. That's the equation. So if I put y equals, if I put that into y equals 5x squared, I hit graph, you get your parabola. So your x values still go from negative infinity to positive infinity. This does not mean all my y values. No. Like this parabola here has its own equation. This parabola here has its own equation. This one could be what? Y equals 3x squared. But that doesn't mean that that's the range. Okay? All right. But it's not 3x squared, so don't write that down. All right, D. We have... I heard that.
That's really.
I heard. Okay. What is the left arrow?
Negative.
Yeah, they're both negative. What about the right arrow?
Positive, negative.
Positive infinity, negative infinity. And then what's my vertex?
0, 0.
0, 0. Okay. Since we're only looking for the domain, put an x in the middle. What's my smallest x value? Negative infinity. What's my highest x value?
Positive.
Okay, so that means that this one is all real numbers. Okay, so the way we set it up, that's just a starting point. And whenever I used to teach domain and range, we never used to write that starting point, and so many students would get all of these wrong. So make sure you're doing that. Even though these infinities don't end up being in your final answer, it helps to know, okay, well, it's all real numbers because I have infinity as my minimum and my maximum. This one here, I don't have an infinity anywhere, so the whole thing is my answer. 0 is less than or equal to x, is less than or equal to 1.6. Meaning my graph is going to stay between the 0 and the 1.6. Okay? This one's going from infinity to infinity. Okay? Anyway.
And beyond.
Yeah. Now, it says, is it possible for a quadratic function to have a range of all real numbers? The answer is no. Why not?
Because C had a stopping point.
Close. That stopping point is that peak, that curve, either that high point, that minimum, or that maximum. That's what keeps it from being all real numbers. Okay. In algebra, none of your ranges are gonna be all real numbers. Not for quadratics. It is possible for a straight line, but not for quadratics because of that curve. Because of the vertex. Okay. So let's practice. And today, instead of giving you domain and range homework, because I hate grading domain and range, I'm going to give you the take-home quiz because I thought about it. If I give it to you over the weekend, you're not going to bring it back. You're going to forget about it. So you're going to get the take-home quiz instead of the homework for domain and range. It's over the first 2 lessons and domain and range. Yeah. Domain and range is on the quiz, but you get your notes. Okay. All right. So the left arrow is what?
Negative infinity, positive infinity.
Yep. The right one?
Positive.
Okay. And then always label your vertex as well.
Guys?
-3, what? Okay. So for the domain,
Negative infinity.
what's the smallest? Negative infinity
Positive infinity.
to positive infinity. So this one is all real numbers. All real numbers. Good. So for the range, we put a y in the middle instead of an x. And look at the y values that we labeled. Okay. What is the smallest y value? -7. Close circle. What's the highest?
Positive infinity.
Okay, so this one, because there's only one infinity symbol, you keep the side with the number, but also flip it because you want the variable to be in the front. Okay, so this one ends up being y is greater than or equal to -7. Ready? And you're not always going to flip. So number 4 is an example of that. Ready?
Of course.
Yes. Okay. All right. Label your arrows and your vertex. What's the vertex?
2, 3.
2, 3. Cool. Now, even though that left arrow is in quadrant 4, it's going to continue and end up in what quadrant? 3. So think about that when you're labeling it. What would you label it as?
Negative.
Negative. And then the right one?
Positive, negative.
Positive infinity, negative infinity. Good. All right. Let's write the domain. The only time domain is not all real numbers, we can just go ahead and do that. The only time domain is not all real numbers is when there's if it doesn't have arrows. But this one does have arrows, so domain is going to be all real numbers. Okay? The range is the one you have to think about every single time. Every single time. So let's look at the y values. What's my smallest y value?
Negative infinity.
This time my smallest y value is negative infinity. What's my highest?
Positive
The 3.
Oh, psych.
Yeah, there's no positive infinity for this y value. So you only keep the side with the number. You don't have to flip it because the y is already in front once you get rid of that infinity. It's not that bad. So finding the range from an equation, okay? Finding the range from the equation. Look at the a value. To determine whether the function has a maximum or a minimum. Up here, you write all real numbers. And we talked about this one already. If your parabola has arrows, it's going to be, your domain is going to be all real numbers. If it doesn't have arrows, double check that domain, okay? Number 2, find the maximum or minimum of the function by finding the vertex. You need to find the vertex, so I wrote the steps for finding the vertex. You're going to write the inequality using the maximum or the minimum, okay? So we're going to do that a couple of times. Number 5, you can automatically assume that that the domain is going to be all real numbers because there's no meaning behind these numbers. It doesn't talk about seconds, it doesn't talk about feet, it doesn't talk about height, it doesn't talk about distance, nothing, okay? So the domain is all real numbers. Okay? Same thing for number 6. The domain, all real numbers. The range is the one that's a little bit more difficult because that one depends on the vertex. You need to be able to find the vertex. So get your calculators. And we're going to follow these steps over here, okay? First thing you're going to do is you're going to type in your equation into y equals. Let me get my camera. What is it? Negative x squared plus 6x minus 14. Got it? Now it says press graph to make sure the vertex is visible.
Yes.
I hit graph. Yes, I can see it right there. I can see the peak. Everybody see it? Okay. Now to find or to calculate that vertex, you're going to press second trace. Yes? No?
Yes. Yes.
Yes? Okay. And this one is what? A minimum or a maximum? Maximum. So press number 4. Now it says left bound. You're going to have left bound, right bound, guess. Okay? So your star always starts on the y-intercept. So if you're looking for the y-intercept, there it is, 0, negative 14. But your star is always on the y-axis. So I'm going to move it to the right until I see it somewhere up here. Okay? Move it to the right. Use your right, left, and right arrows. Never use your up and down.
So the vertex?
Now, you know your vertex is at the very top. So left bound means to put it on the left side. Is everybody's star on the left side of the vertex?
Yes.
Okay, push enter one time.
Wait, what?
Push enter one time. Now that question's going to change to right bound. So now put that star on the right side of the vertex. What are you doing, Josiah? Did you already mess up?
I pressed up and down.
Yeah, if you press up and down, you're going to have to start over by pressing second trace. Because if you press up and down, it takes you out of the questions. Once your star is on the right side, press enter 2 times. and my vertex is 3, -5.
Wait, press enter.
2 times.
2?
2 until it says maximum.
Hey, I'm looking good.
When it says maximum, you have found the vertex. Yes.
2.9999.
Which is 3, -5. If you did not get that, you can come see me. You could have gotten 3 point something, so. All right. If you did not get that, come see me, and everybody else copy that down. Sketch it. If you're not coming to see me, I'm assuming you found it.
I got it wrong.
Well, come, please. Let's fix this right now. All right. Now, the rest of you, start finding the range. Start finding the range. Okay, so you have yours, so press second trace. It's a maximum, so put number 4. Now go to the left side of it. Keep going. Good. Push enter. Now it changed. Now go to the right side of it. Push enter twice. 1, 2, maximum. 3, -5. Okay, there. Okay, are you in the question yet? Oh no, you already got it. 3, -5. That's right. That's not right. That's not right.
Look, it's the 2.999983.
Did you put in the... all right, let's try again. Put second trace. Maximum is 4. Okay, push enter, because you're already on the left side of the vertex. Go to the right side.
Oh,
Did you not go to the right side?
no.
Okay, now push enter. Enter again. There it is.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so what is my range? We're going to write what? Oops. The smallest is -infinity, and the highest is?
-5.
So what do we keep? -5. But also think about this. This one is a what? Maximum. And where do you write the maximum? Right there. Okay? So the other one will have to be infinity. All right, let's try this again. Y'all ready? Okay, number 6. Put that equation into y equals 2x squared minus 12x plus 9. Can we see our vertex? Yes. Okay. So what do? We press what? This time we're going to do what? Number 3 for minimum.
Wait, why?
Because it's a low point.
Oh, side.
I'm going to get close to my vertex, but still stay on the left side of it for the left bound, right? Push enter.
So it's not her curve, but I mean, why is mine not moving? Because you're pushing
You cannot press up and down. You have to use the left and right arrows.
Piper.
Okay. So my minimum is 3, -9. All right. Let's sketch it.
Wait. Stop that.
You what? You messed up? Where does your minimum go whenever you write the range? Where does the minimum go? Where does that number go? The left side. So put that -9 here,
Do we just round up?
and the other one will be infinity. Yeah, yes, you do round. Since the y is in the back, make sure you flip it.
Because they're arrows.
Yeah, they're arrows.
Are they always going to be arrows?
Yes, Not always, but yes in this one, because your numbers don't mean anything. If it's a word problem, you're talking about feet, seconds, time, height, distance, whatever, then your numbers mean something. But in this one, your numbers don't mean anything. They're just numbers. Remember, you can't have a negative amount of seconds. You can't have a negative amount of distance. So that's why. The table shows some coordinate points on the function, including the vertex. Can you determine the range? Yes, you should be able to, okay? I showed you guys in the beginning how to find that, that vertex. Which one is the vertex here?
Let me see.
Find that curve.
111.
Look at your y values. Find the curve. Which one's the curve? Or which?
Negative 213.
Negative 213. That's your vertex. Why? Because the 11s match. Okay? So, if you go from 11 to a 13 to an 11, is it going to be a maximum or a minimum? Are you going higher or are you going low? Maximum. So, this is this type of graph. Okay? Negative 213 is that. Meaning my domain will automatically be all real numbers. The range is the one that's affected. So this is a maximum point. So where would we put this 13? On the left or the right? On the right. Your max always goes on the right. Okay? That means the other side will be infinity. Yeah, min. And you leave it like that. You don't have to flip it. Okay? Wait, what? Why?
Why would not have to flip it? Oh, wait.
Because if I box this off, the y is already in the front.
Oh, okay.
If I were to box it off and the 13's in the front, then I had to flip it for the variable to be in the front. You always want the variable to be in the front. But that is a good question.
And it's going to be all real numbers because it's...
Because there's no context. Those numbers don't mean anything. The x values don't mean seconds. The y values don't mean feet or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Another good question. Any other questions? Okay. Number 8, last one. This one, your domain cannot be all real numbers. Why? We just talked about it.
Because there's a problem. Because there's feet and seconds. Every quad function has a minimum and maximum. Oh, there's feet and seconds.
Yeah. You can't have a negative number of feet. You can't have a negative number of seconds. So that's why it cannot be all real numbers. All real numbers, focus. All real numbers is when you go from negative infinity to positive infinity, right? But here on this last graph, it doesn't have arrows. So there is stopping points, okay? So now, no, you're not cooked. This one's actually easier because you actually have numbers on everything. All right, label the 3 points. What's your first point on the left? 0, 0. And what's the vertex?
0.759.
Okay. What's the x-intercept? 1.50. Make sure you label it correctly. All right, let's start with the domain. What is the minimum for the x values? 0, closed circle. There's no gaps, there's no open circles, okay? What's the highest x value? 1.5, closed circle. Done. That is the domain. When you have numbers on both sides, the whole thing is your answer, okay? How do you what? Because it doesn't have... If it's an open circle, you would literally physically see an open circle like that. Like you would be able to see a gap in the circle. But there isn't, so. Got it?
Yeah.
I'll try to pull up, because that you see a lot of open circles with linear. I'll try to pull up another one later and show you. All right, the range. Put a y in the middle. What is the smallest y value? What is the highest y value? Yes. So this one goes from 0 to 9. Once again, there's numbers on both sides, so the whole thing is your answer. If a bird is flying 10 feet above the ground, could Raul hit the bird?
No.
Why not?
Because the highest point is 9.
Correct. No, highest point is 9. There.